Great. All right. Um, so, Welcome. For those of you who have not been here before, my name is Heather, and I am the program manager of YogaX, which is a yoga training and education program at Stanford. And one of the things that we do is we offer free yoga classes to the Stanford community as well as the outside community. And so tonight is a gentle, restorative, a little yin. I try to throw a bunch of stuff in. And again, I have this opt-in, opt-out policy where if there's something that feels good or interesting and you want to try it, please feel free. And if at any point, if any of the options that I'm giving you don't resonate or don't feel interesting, feel free to swap something out for something that feels a bit more intuitive. My theme for today is feels kind of lofty, but so I'm like fresh coming off of a vacation, and so I'm like feeling like super blissed out. And so the thing that I was thinking about talking about today is the last limb of yoga, which I've maybe mentioned before if you've been to any of my classes, is known as Samadhi. And sama in Sanskrit means like even or equal. And so it's coming like into equilibrium. I also think of it as like integration. It's when you're able to experience like the balancing of all of the different practices of being embodied while also being connected to your environment. And the tricky thing about Samadhi is it's not like there's a practice, right? Like, so asana, right? There's physical posture practices, breathing, right? There's specific techniques that we work with. Even meditation has some pretty like specific ways of doing it. And Samadhi is not a technique or a practice. It's quite the opposite, actually. It's an experience. And it's kind of like we try to set up the context for Samadhi to occur, but we can't like be attached to it. Like I can't sit down on roll out my yoga mat and be like, all right, I'm practicing Samadhi, right? It occurs spontaneously. However, what we can practice is learning to pay attention and to observe so that we can actually, when Samadhi experiences do happen, we can become aware of them and even like marinate in them a little longer. There's a book about, I think it's called Buddha's Brain, where generally we have this negativity bias, right? Where we stick to the bad or what's not working. And that an intentional practice is to remember the good or to kind of let ourselves sit in the positive for a little longer. And I had this experience this weekend where I just let myself be in it as much as I could. I was backpacking and in the wilderness and just like was like in this like beautiful place and got to like, I was really intentionally just trying to be there. And that's what yoga really allows, is teaching us the tools to let ourselves be there, because it doesn't last forever, right? Like I'm having the like after vacation grief where I'm like, oh, it's over, right? And right, I still get to have the like nice like warm feelings and remembering that it did occur. So anyway, I can ramble on and on about my trip and my Samadhi nuggets. But I also want to invite everybody to like that not every like big moment has to be Samadhi, right? Like you all don't have to go on vacation to experience Samadhi, right? Sometimes it's our like first sip of coffee in the morning where you're in this like utter bliss place, or you see a friend that you haven't seen in a really long time and you're just kind of with them. I can't promise that you will get to Samadhi in the next 50 minutes. However, what I can encourage or invite or see if it happens is if we can pay attention on our yoga mat, that we'll be able to cultivate this skill to pay attention to when samadhi does occur. Because it does exist for everyone. So anyway, on that note, I think we will get started. So if you don't have them already, have a blanket, maybe a couple just in case, a pillow, and yoga bricks. And from here, I'll have everybody come to a comfortable seat. So if you've been sitting for a while, cross your legs the opposite way. And we'll just take a moment to settle into our seat. Maybe closing your eyes. Once again, to feel your position or your posture from the inside out. Maybe starting to notice your own breathing here. As you continue to sit and begin to pay attention. And then from here, I'll continue to bring your attention to the breath so that you can start to become more acquainted with how you are breathing in this moment, as well as moment to moment throughout our time together. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale here. And then exhale to release your chin down to your chest, to release the back of the neck. You might find that you'd like to roll your shoulders a little bit farther down your back, just to create a bit more sensation in the neck. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale to bring the crown of the head up. And you can do this again with eyes closed or eyes open. And then on your exhale, you'll bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. And then once again, bringing your attention to your breathing here. To watch how your body breathes you, shape to shape, moment to moment. And then from here, we'll inhale to reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, left ear towards your left shoulder. Wow, right ear towards your right shoulder. Sorry, I was doing opposite. I have vacation brain, so we'll see if I get my rights and lefts correct. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale to bring the crown of the head up. And a big exhale to soften into your seat. Then we'll move into a little bit of cat and cow just to warm up the spine here. And so when you're ready on your inhale, you'll bring your sternum forward, draw your shoulders back, and then your gaze starts to look up towards the ceiling, maybe where the wall meets the ceiling, or if you'd like a little bit more in your neck, you can start to look upwards. And then exhale to curl in. Bring your hands to your knees so that you add a bit more tension in your body as you draw the mid back behind you and curl in. Inhale to draw the belly forward, maybe looking forward or up. And then exhale to curl in. And so just continuing to move forward and back, syncing your breath with your movement, and letting your breath become intimate with how you are moving, and how you're moving become more intimate with how you are breathing. This is one of the ways that helps us pay attention in yoga, is by really intentionally linking breath with movement. And when you're ready, the next time your heart is forward, come back into a neutral position and maybe shake out your hands. And then we'll switch the cross of the legs. And I think we did this a couple of weeks ago, but we'll do this kind of quickly because I just want us to move the spine side to side. So from here, you'll inhale, reaching your arms up, ground down through your sits bones as you reach through the side ribs and up through the fingertips. Exhale, lean over to the left and curl over. Inhale, reach and rise, and then exhale to the opposite side. And then just flow through these two sides, following your own breath. You might want to get your head involved by maybe looking up towards the ceiling or looking down towards the floor. You might want to move faster or slower. One of the things about learning to pay attention is also learning to decipher what your body is needing moment to moment. Especially as we move and breathe. And then the next time your arms are up, leave them there. And then on your exhale, bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee, and then draw your right hand behind you, either to the floor or on the sacrum. Inhale to reach up through the crown of the head, and then exhale to twist gently. Going like 60 or 70% just because it's the beginning of class, right? Just like Samadhi or bliss, we can't force it. We wait patiently until it arrives. I'm laughing because I'm not necessarily the most patient person, so it is a practice for me as well. All right, and then we'll inhale to reach the arms out, coming back to center, and then exhale, switch sides. Inhale to reach up through the crown of the head, and then exhale to gently twist belly, heart, and maybe your gaze goes behind you. Again, really go like leisurely into this twist. We'll be doing a lot more leg and hip stuff, so just letting your spine kind of guide how much twist happens right now. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale to come back to center, reaching the arms out and up. And then exhale to releasing your hands and taking out. All right. So these next couple of movements, watch me first, and then I'll have you do it. It's a bit of hip mobility, and especially in yoga, we work with hip flexibility. And so something we can also do is work with how mobile and strong they can be. So just watch me first as I do it, and then we'll do it all together. So you start in a Baddha Konasana shape. So this is a bound angle or butterfly. Then your one leg goes behind. So I'm kind of in this like twisting shape. Then you can use your hands to come up onto your shins like so. And then release down. Come back into a Baddha Konasana shape. And then you'll switch sides. So I am in this like, I don't know, bent knee kind of spiral shape. And then you can use your hands, or you can do this handless. Come up onto your shins, lower, and then switch. All right. So we'll all start together, and I'll go really slow in the beginning. We'll do it all together, and then I'll let you play with it. And again, you can use your hands on the floor. If you have bricks, you can bring the floor up to you. One of the things about learning to pay attention to yoga is like, use all the supports you need in the beginning and trust the process. All right. So you'll first start in your Baddha Konasana shape. Then you'll bring your right foot back behind you. So you're in this like kind of twisty knee shape. Then either using your hands or hands to heart, you'll come up onto your shins. Yes. And then either hands on bricks or on the floor, lower back on your bum. Then draw your right foot to your left, come back into your Baddha Konasana shape. And then we'll switch sides. So left foot goes behind you. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to lower. Baddha Konasana. And then switch. And so I'll let you keep moving through this a couple of times. If you're hating this, know that we won't do this the whole time. We're just doing it for now, right? One of the great things that is that poses are impermanent. And if you're loving this, what a great practice in letting go when things will shift, right? And as you're moving through this, if you'd like to add a little bit of a strengthener, at the top, see if you can squeeze your glutes. And then we'll do this one more time on each side. And then the next time you come into a Baddha Konasana shape, stay there. All right. So from here, if you're sitting in a Baddha Konasana shape, so this bound angle, and your low back feels like it's rounding out, grab a blanket to place underneath your hips so that there can be a nice little curve, because it'll help with forward folding. So we'll first start with the feet together, but grab your brick. If you don't have a brick, a book or something that you can put between your feet will work. But we'll first start with the feet like this, and grab your big toes. And depending on where your hips are today, you can move your feet closer or farther away. So take your time to feel, okay, where do my feet need to be? Where it feels like a bit of challenge, but not to the point of where you feel any strain or the breath feels like there's any unease in it. Then from here, you'll grab your big toes, press in with the outsides of the feet towards the floor, and then see if you can lengthen the inner thighs away from you as you draw the crown of the head up towards the ceiling and move your sternum forward. And then see if you can keep an open heart here as you broaden through the collarbones. And we'll hold this maybe for 5 rounds of breath. And see if you can stay with your breathing here as you keep the spine long and practice paying attention to your breath. All right. On your last exhale, you can release your feet, soften in your pose. Then from here, I'll have you bring your right arm and the back of the hand. I was like the top of the palm, and I was like, no, that's not it. The back of the hand, it's like you're turning it underneath the knee, like whoosh. And you bring the left hand to the opposite knee. We'll inhale here, and then exhale, you'll start to lean over to the left and use this hand, right, with the back of the hand below, kind of like you're twisting and moving down. Then inhale to come back up, and then you'll switch. So now the left arm reaches away from you, paw or back of the hand down, leaning over to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. Inhale, center, and exhale, switch. And each time you switch, it's like you're drawing the hand with the back of the hand on the ground. The shoulder comes in, so you're leaning in. We'll just do this a couple more times. I'm being really intentional about moving first to link breath with movement, and then holding some shapes. Because our attention shifts, right? Sometimes we get more distracted when we're moving, and sometimes we get more distracted when we're holding still. Maybe something to notice, right? Next time you're up, stay there. All right, so now I'll have you grab your bricks, or one brick, and first start it on the tall side. So, or tall side, where it is the second height. So like so. And you'll place it between your feet. So if you have makeshift blocks, it's like the smallest distance between your feet. Great. Then you'll bring your hands to your ankles, and you'll do similarly to what we did the first round, where the insides of the thighs are lengthening away. And then this time you'll add the outer thighs are moving towards the outer hips. And you'll bring your sternum forward, reach up through the crown of the head as you broaden through the collarbones here. And then see if you can press into the feet to add a little bit of strengthening here. And then bringing your attention back to your breathing. Maybe even see if you can soften your breath as you hold the sheet. And when you're ready, we'll inhale here. And then exhale. Release. Great. Now, you'll take your brick and move it so it's wider, and then place that between your feet. You might have to move your hips back like I did so that I can feel like I'm sitting up a bit more tall, a bit taller, excuse me. And you'll grab your outer ankles or the fronts of your ankles. Draw the insides of the thighs away from you as the outsides of the hips and thighs and glutes move towards the body. Then start to reach up through the crown of the head as you lift your sternum up and forward, and then draw your collarbones gently back, and then release the shoulders and breathe here. So with each of these variations, we're moving a bit more intensely into our groin and hip area. And see if you can notice the sensations that are there. Using your breath to help ease this moment. And if at any point ease feels really far away, you can move the feet farther away from you. You can move the brick so that it comes back into the first position. Again, yoga is here to help us pay attention to shifts and changes as we do poses a bit differently every time, but not to cause strain. Right, yoga is setting up the context for samadhi and bliss, hopefully, and integration. And so if this doesn't feel like it's moving towards that, where can you release the technique for the experience? And then when you're ready, we'll release out of this one. And then from here, we'll do One more variation. Now bring your feet up on the block. So if you do not have bricks, this is where you can stack books. A pillow is fine. I like a sturdier surface, but you get to find what works for you in your space. And then once again, we'll ground down through the sits bones, reach up through the crown of the head, and press the feet into each other as the inner thighs move towards the knees. And then the outer thighs moves towards the pelvis. Bringing the sternum forward as you draw the collarbones away and then shoulders down. As you bring some gentleness into your breathing. And maybe even into your practice. Where if there's any story around the tightness of your hips and what it means about you, can there be some kindness here? That it's not because you have bad hips or that there's anything wrong with them, that they're just experiencing sensations here. And that means nothing about you. That you are enough exactly as you are, regardless of what your hips are doing. And when you're ready, we'll inhale here. And then exhale to release your feet down. And then you can move the brick away. We'll need them a little later, but we will have them farther away. And then if you're sitting on a blanket, move it off to the side just for the time being. But make sure that you have like a blanket or stack of pillows or something nearby. Then, so just watch me first while I show you the shape. You'll come back into the, like, I wish I had a better name for it, but you're essentially making triangles with your legs where the right foot goes to the top of the left thigh. And the calf is like parallel to it's called deer pose. Sorry, my brain is pretty foggy right now. And you'll turn your belly and heart away from the top leg that's behind you. Then you can stay here in this upright position if this feels good for you. I feel it a lot in this hip, so this is a nice stopping point for me. Or you can work towards, this is where the pillows and blankets come in handy. Releasing your belly down on a prop if you want something more restorative and restful. You can come down onto your elbows or totally onto your belly. But take your time to play with these. So an easy way to get into the shape, you place your feet on the floor like this with your knees up, and then you draw your knees over to one side. I wish I had done that to start with, but here we are. And then you'll turn your torso towards the bottom leg. And then you get to decide your variation, if you'd like the seated up position or if you'd like to come onto a prop or onto the floor. And again, letting yourself transition into this shape by bringing your attention maybe first to what's happening physically, right? Noticing if there's any sensations here that are interesting or curious, or maybe you have a different adjective to what the sensations are feeling like right now. See if you can keep those sensations in your awareness as you shift your attention to your breathing here. And if breath feels too subtle, maybe there's something about your breath that you can pay attention to, like the texture or the temperature, where you are experiencing the breath in your body. Again, there's so many things to pay attention to in yoga. And what's interesting for you one day might shift another. Kind of like Samadhi, what feels like an integrative, blissful experience one day might feel like nothing another day, or what feels mundane at some point feels profound at another. And so see if you can be with just the expansiveness of your experience, even in this moment, while we are holding a still shape. Maybe you're experiencing quiet internally for the first time today. Or maybe you're still with the internal buzz that you're slowly becoming aware of right now as I talk about it. And from here, you're lying on your belly or being supported by props or pillows. See if you can walk yourself up so that you're either on your forearms or on your hands. And then again, you'll have your right hand supporting you, or it's the front leg hand or the forearm. And then you'll reach back to grab the outside of the left foot and then draw it. So make sure that it's not going out, that it's going directly towards the middle of your glute. So we're doing this like quadricep stretch. And try to make sure that you have a stable place with your forearm. Mine's like particularly wobbly. So I'm just hoping for all of you that you find a little bit more stability than I have right now, at least with the forearm. Something that I like to do to add more interesting sensation is as if it's pushing my pelvis forward, and then it's as if the front of the pelvic bowl is tilting up towards my face. If that didn't make sense to you, just leave it. Right, yoga is about you feeling into your experience rather than trying to figure out how to fit your experience into mine. And when you're ready, you'll release the top foot. Then you'll come back up into a seated position. You'll draw your legs up, feet wide, and then you'll draw your knees over to the opposite side. And just make sure you have supports or whatever you need for the opposite side. I'm going to switch so that I can stay towards you. And first, just try seated up just to begin with before you decide to lie down. And then when you're ready, from giving yourself a moment to pause, deciding what variation or option, whether you'd like to stay seated, or if you want to come onto your forearms, either on a prop, onto the ground, on your belly. Again, see if the shape can unfold from something more internally. Right? Samadhi is the experience of samadhi can be very personal. Um, like I can't necessarily tell you what your samadhi is or how to experience it on your yoga mat. It's something felt and experienced and known by you. And so especially in these shapes where there's options, see if you can really feel into the options and let yourself have the luxury of exploration and finding the one that feels good enough for you in this moment. That can be uniquely yours right here and right now. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, either coming up onto your hands, your forearms, either on the floor or on the block or the blocks, the props underneath you. And you'll turn your belly and chest behind you and then grab the outside or the top of the foot. Then you'll draw the foot straight back towards your hip. So again, making sure that's not going out, it's going right in. And then you're turning your belly forward. And then trying as best you can to balance on the either the left hand or the left forearm. And then you can decide here if that cue that we did earlier on the previous side felt meaningful to you. Feel free to practice that here. As you continue to let your breath be your focal point. As you bring some gentleness into your breathing and into your experience. And when you're ready, releasing your right foot, coming back up into your deer shape. And then you'll come onto your feet and maybe bringing your hands back and just windshield wiping your windshield wipering your legs side to side. I can tell when I've been out in the wilderness because how my speech is like really weird and wonky. Um, And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center. And from here, have your support, your blanket, and then have your bricks. If you don't have bricks, I will give you options. And see if when you sit, if you can have your bricks on something that slides. So I'm putting it on my carpet, so it'll slide. And well, I'm gonna do it sideways so you can see me better. If you liked the blanket under your hips, if that felt really supportive for your low back, feel free to bring the blankets under your hips as you transition into your Dandasana shape. My cat's trying to come in. Come on. Hi, honey. Okay. And then you'll bring your, I like to bring my hands underneath my knee and then drag the right foot in. And then you'll bring it out, the knee out to the side. And then you'll bring the inside of the right foot towards this leg, like so. And then bring both of your bricks on the sides. If you don't have bricks, you'll just bring your hands forward and you'll slide them forward like that. Okay. So from here, first sit up tall and see if you can press out through the heel. And then imagine that the front of the leg and the outer hip is moving towards the body as the inner thigh of the right leg is moving away from you. So it's like the Baddha Konasana shape is happening in the right leg, so the bent knee. Then you'll bring your hands on the bricks or your hands on fingertips. And then reach up through the crown of the head to grow the spine long. Broaden through your collarbone as you draw your sternum forward. Inhale here. And then on your exhale, reach your blocks forward to come to a forward fold. But first, stay with a long spine as you let your block slide forward. Yeah. And then you can decide here if you'd like to stay like this, or if you get to a place where you want to round and forward fold, feel free to do so. You're so funny. While you're rounding forward, if you want more support here, a really luxurious thing to do, yeah, Mama, you're getting in the way, honey, is to place your blankets or pillows in front of you to let like that be your support. So that's one option. Or you can just stay on the bricks into a forward fold. Yeah, the goal isn't to like reach closer to the foot or to have the most intense forward fold, right? The big thing in yoga is what pose and posture helps you stay curious, helps you stay present, right? To set up the context for Samadhi, right? Samadhi doesn't happen when we're straining or forcing. It happens when we let ourselves just be how we are in the moment. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like Momo says no, but right now I feel like he's cheering us on to be like, yes, be you. And as you continue to hold this, letting your breath be soft. Seeing how that can soften your experience while you hold this. We'll take maybe a couple more rounds of breath. And when you're ready, inhaling, maybe you can slide your blocks back or start to walk your hands back. Come to sit back up. Bring your right hand to the outside of your right leg to draw the knee up. and then push the heel away, straighten it in front of you. Take a moment to sit back in your Dandasana shape. And then switch sides. So draw your left knee in towards your chest. And then draw the left knee out to the side. Inhale to first sit up. Sternum moving forward, crown of the head lifting as you draw down through your hips. And keep this like extended leg active as the inner thigh of the left leg moves away from you. Inhale here. And then exhale, either slide your blocks forward or walk your hands forward into a gentle forward fold. And then you can decide here if you would like to curl the spine forward, moving the bricks forward, or coming to grab your supports where you can make this a bit more restorative and lie on pillows and blankets. Once again, letting your breath be soft. Maybe as you continue to embrace the stillness of this pose, also seeing how we might be still on the external. Notice what's moving internally. What can you notice? What can you be with here on your yoga mat, in your body right now? And when you're ready, inhale to come back up to center. And then move your bricks off to the side just for a moment. I'm gonna close the door because Momo has left us. And have your bricks available and maybe your pillows and blankets. Then, this is for me, is I like to have my yoga mat underneath my heels because I don't like the sensation of my heels touching the wood floor. And you'll sit in wide-legged shape. And we'll first start by sitting upwards. And then if you liked the experience of moving forward with the bricks, you can do that here. If you would like more support, you can have blanket and bolster here, or pillows, or you can mix, right? Use your bricks and pillows here to bring the floor up to you. So first, get the legs ready, pressing out through the heels, and then drawing the outer hips in, right? So this is like we're doing the Baddha Konasana shape, but just in the upper legs. And first start by reaching up through the crown of the head. Inhale here. Draw your collarbones back. Roll your shoulder blades down the back. Maybe taking an exhale here to relax the body into this shape. Then when you're ready, we'll inhale. And then exhale, see if you can move with your heart first. Keeping your spine long into a forward fold. You do not have to go very far. I for sure do not in this shape. And so just go until you feel an interesting sensation that helps you stay present, but not to the point that it feels straining or there's venom being spit towards you or maybe towards me, right? That you're able to find a version of the shape that you can, once again, pay attention to what's happening in your body and to your breath. For one more minute, noticing how your body receives each inhale, as well as noticing how your body releases each exhale without you having to do anything about it, right? You really get to just watch this unfold as you fold. With this for another 30 seconds. See if you can soften a little bit more, either physically or energetically, or maybe even psychologically into this shape. And from here, walking your hands back either from the bricks or from the supports, moving the supports and stuff off of the side, drawing your legs back. Sometimes I just like to bring my hands under my knees to draw the legs forward. And then make your way into your final pose. So Shavasana is the typical, so you can lie down either with your knees bent and feet on the floor, or you can bring your legs out in front of you. You can bring a support underneath the thighs if you'd like to lie down, but your low back needs a bit extra. Be particular about how you would like to end your practice. And so take the next couple moments to settle into our final shape together. And I'll invite everyone to decide if you'd like to close your eyes or to soften your gaze as you begin to draw your senses more internally and see if you can relax the technique of paying attention here to see what else you can become aware of, that you can witness and observe as we rest for the final moments of class in silence and stillness. From here, begin to notice your breath once again. And slowly begin to feel your body before you decide to move it. And then from here, begin to invite small, subtle movements that eventually lead into bigger movements that can help support you to find a comfortable seat. And then from here, you can either keep your palms face down on your thighs, or you can bring your hands together in front of your heart. As I invite you all to bow your head towards your own heart center, to acknowledge that our yoga practice is here not to give us anything new or to teach us to strive towards bliss or samadhi, but instead teaching us to recognize the samadhi that's in the mundane, the everyday, and to really cherish it when it does show up. A big bow of gratitude to all of you. Thank you so much for practicing with me this evening. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone.